that I printed of the virtuous book of distillation of all manner of herbs. This text was originally written in German, published in Germany in 1490. It was translated into English, published in London in 1527. This text is out of print. You will not find it except in a library.
Sorry, what was the name of the text?
The virtuous book of distillation of all manner of herbs. I am going to publish on the website the digital copy of this text because it is so hard for people to get. If you read this text, it is written in Chaucerian English. I'm redacting the text into modern English, but it's 297 pages, and it takes me about an hour and a half per page, so that I don't have a lot of it redacted.
May I help you, sir?
You certainly may help. I will be happy to send it to you. It essentially reads like a modern aromatherapy text. Almost all waters were used medievally in households. What you'll discover is that every royal family had multiple distillers on staff. The king's distiller and the queen's distiller were different people for obvious reasons. You don't want your wife to poison you, so that you use your own distiller. The names of the distillers are available. I've published them on the website with the dates and the royals that they were associated with. Almost every great manor house had a still room. The lady wife of the manor was expected to be able to operate the still. She was expected to be able to make the waters that were used in healing. Much of this information originally comes from the Cathars, who were eliminated by the church because they began using a material called water of life, which we loosely translate grain alcohol. And the Cathars began doing something called baptism in fire, where they would take alcohol, brush it on your hair, and set it alight. The alcohol burns off, and the individual is unharmed. The heresy of the Cathars was water of life, to baptize. In the Middle Ages, whenever you're looking at a clear fluid, it looks like a water, whether it's pure alcohol or if it's tap or river water, so that everything was called a water, so that alcohols are water of life. During the period that I am researching, which is the 14th century primarily, all of the great monastic houses began making water of life. They began to distill. Every great house had multiple stills in it. They were attempting to form or to distill the pure essence out of material. They were attempting to extract the soul out of the material, the spirit. And as a consequence, alcohol still today is called spirit from that time period. The Pope issues a bull telling all great houses to destroy their stills and to no longer teach alchemy or to no longer keep alchemical books in their libraries. They had 4 days from the day the bull arrived at their house to do so. So that there's a great purging during our period. of the alchemical text. The great alchemists that you've heard of include Thomas Aquinas, the doctor of the church, the gentle who sets Christian doctrine for the church post-Augustine. Francis Bacon, the Franciscan monk who's jailed for doing alchemical works. Other alchemical houses, other alchemical works that you're familiar with include the Carthusians, whose water of life we refer to as chartreuse. Chartreuse is a water of life. Comes in 3 flavors. Still made by the Carthusians only. They make it, they sell it, it funds the house.
Green, yellow, and
chartreuse. There's a dark green, a mint green, and a yellow.
I didn't know the dark green.
Yes, the dark green chartreuse. The other material that you're familiar with, the great house of the Benedictines make, the water of life called Benedictine. So that the monastics were the great distillers, and this information here, which is published around 1500, is essentially a collection of those recipes. He did not really develop anything new. He simply collected and published. So that this right here would be a text that I would advise you to read. This text is John French's text. It's relatively available. I will republish this on site in digital format for you. The advantage that this text has over the Virtuous book is that this has better drawings of the alchemical equipment. Most of you are familiar with a gentleman by the name of Arab Boy who's here on site selling. I will take diagrams from this text and give them to him and say, I want this. And he'll come back with a prototype and say, does that look right? I've never seen one before. All I've got is the drawing. It looks good to me. So that anything that you want can be made. This is not off the shelf. You are not going to find a house that is selling this equipment. If you are interested in distilling using period equipment, you need to have it made for you. You must remember that period equipment is not made of Pyrex or safety glass. It is very tender. You cannot apply direct heat to period glassware when you're distilling. So that 3 other books that I strongly recommend. I purchased these here at Pennsic years ago. I thought that the Gentle was still selling these, but apparently they're now only available from the printer in Britain. The apothecary shop opened, the still room opened, and the surgeon's box opened. These are still in print. I would strongly recommend reading these if you are going to become involved in alchemical period works. The author's name is Hugh Petrie, P-E-T-R-I-E. The publisher is Stewart Press in Bristol. So that these are going to be up front here. You're welcome to write these down during the class. The last